You wake up, and for 1 second, you remember everything. There was a house you've never lived in, a person you somehow knew, something that mattered enormously, though you couldn't say what. Then you sit up, and it begins to dissolve. The harder you grab for it, the faster it slips away. A feeling without a picture, a story with no words. By the time you're out of bed, it's gone. This happens to you almost every single morning. You live through hours of vivid, emotional, often bizarre experience, and you erase nearly all of it before breakfast. Researchers estimate that within 5 minutes of waking, you've forgotten about half of your dream. Within 10 minutes, close to 90% is gone. But the real reason is far stranger than a bad memory. Your brain isn't failing to save your dreams. It is actively choosing not to. Think about what that means. Every night, your mind builds an entire world out of nothing, and every morning, it wipes the tape. Why would it go to all that trouble, only to throw the result away? To understand that, you have to look at what your brain is chemically doing while you dream. Most of your dreaming happens during a stage called REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement because your eyes flick back and forth beneath your closed lids. In this stage, your brain lights up almost as much as it does when you are wide awake. But one crucial thing is missing: a chemical called norepinephrine. In your waking life, norepinephrine is the molecule of attention. It is part of what stamps an experience into memory, the signal that tells your brain this matters, hold on to this. During REM sleep, its levels collapse. Almost none of it is flowing. So you are having the experience. You are simply not running the machinery that records it. The neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who studies sleep at the University of California, Berkeley, describes REM as a paradoxical state. Your brain is wildly, almost frantically active, yet the systems that would normally lay down a lasting memory are switched off. You are awake on the inside and amnesiac at the very same moment. There is another piece to this. Deep inside your brain sits the hippocampus, a small, curled structure named after the seahorse it resembles. It is the part that files new memories away for long-term storage. And during dreaming, the hippocampus is not communicating with the rest of your brain the way it does when you are awake. The conversation that turns a fleeting experience into a memory you can recall later, that line goes quiet. So even as you watch the dream unfold, it is already running through your fingers. The recording light is off. How much are you actually losing? More than you think. On a normal night, you will have 4, 5, sometimes 6 separate dreams. Add it up across a lifetime, and you will spend years of your life inside dreams you will never remember having. An enormous private film that plays to no audience, not even you. But here is where it gets interesting. Forgetting your dreams might not be an accident at all. It might be the entire point. In 1983, 2 scientists proposed a radical idea. One of them was Francis Crick, who had helped discover the structure of DNA. The other was the mathematician Graham Mitchison. Together, they suggested something that sounds almost backward. They argued that we dream in order to forget. They called it reverse learning. All day long, your brain absorbs a flood of information, and tangled, useless connections build up between your neurons. Noise, junk, accidental associations that lead nowhere. At night, they proposed, your brain runs a clean-up. It fires these random connections inside the chaos of a dream, and then it weakens them, prunes them away. The strange, nonsensical, impossible quality of your dreams might simply be the sound of your brain taking out the trash. And if that is true, then remembering your dreams would defeat the whole purpose. The operation depends on letting them go. Does every dream really vanish, though? You already know it doesn't. Some dreams stay with you for years. The nightmare that threw you awake with your heart pounding. The dream so strange you described it to someone over coffee. And the reason a few survive while the rest evaporate tells you something deep about how memory itself works. A dream is far more likely to stick if you wake up in the middle of it. Robert Stickgold, a sleep researcher at Harvard, has spent years studying how sleep and memory weave together. One consistent finding is that the moment of waking acts almost like a save button. If you surface directly out of REM sleep, the dream is held for a few seconds in your conscious mind, and your waking brain, with no norepinephrine flowing again, can finally encode it. That is why the dreams you remember are so often the ones that woke you. Emotion matters too. A dream soaked in fear or wonder pulls in the brain's threat and reward systems, and those leave a deeper mark. Somewhere beneath your awareness, your brain decided that one was worth keeping. In fact, scientists are getting closer to seeing this happen. Researchers led by Francesca Ciclari and Giulio Tononi found that dreaming is linked to activity in a region near the back of the brain they nicknamed the posterior hot zone. When it switched on, sleepers reported dreaming, even when their bodies looked completely still. We are beginning, slowly, to watch the projector itself. So most mornings, you lose the dream because your brain was working perfectly, recording nothing exactly by design. And once in a while you keep one because the timing or the sheer force of the feeling forced its hand. Which leads to a question you can actually do something about. What if you want to remember? It turns out you can train it. People who keep a dream journal, who write down whatever fragments remain the instant they wake, before they move, before they speak, begin to remember more and more of their dreams over a few weeks. You are not improving your dreams. You are teaching your waking brain to catch them in that narrow window before they dissolve. And one modern habit slams that window shut. The moment you wake and reach for your phone, you flood that fragile space with new information. Notifications, headlines, messages from people who are not in your dream. The dream, held together by a single thread, does not stand a chance. You overwrite it before it can ever be saved. Your ancestors woke to silence and darkness, and their dreams lingered in the quiet. You wake to a glowing screen, and yours are gone before your feet hit the floor. Tonight, you will lie down, and your brain will once again build an entire world out of nothing. You will wander through it for hours. You will see faces and feel fear and fall, and none of it will be real, and all of it will feel as real as this. And tomorrow, for 1 second, you will remember everything. A house, a person, something that mattered. Then it will dissolve, the way it was always meant to. Not because your mind is broken, but because forgetting was the plan all along.